We fixing to make this town real smoky.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a deep dive of Marizu's gameplay trailer. This comes straight from the developers, hot off the press, as they used to say like 100 years ago. The tweet says, deep dive into the gameplay trailer of Marizu and her powers of the fighting god. One thing that I will say, they showed that blue ogre type character, and I never seen that before. I don't know what kind of ogre that is. I also hope we get some kind of story DLC to explain it. So when you click the link, it takes you to their website. The director of Tekken 8 says, Marizu was created with the keyword fighting god reborn and characterized as curious and cheerful. Her fighting style doesn't fit into a single mode. Instead, she fights with boundless energy. In addition to incorporating Miary, a traditional martial arts of Madagascar, along with the authentic strikes unique to African fighting techniques, she also uses charming attacks that mimic movements of ring-tailed lemurs. In addition, she can attack using spears summoned through the power of the fighting god. So that's what they're calling it, the power of the fighting god, as well as moves reminiscent of Ogre from past titles, such as strikes, snakes, tails, and horns. This is the thing, when people were saying make her fight like Ogre, I was wondering, how are you going to do that? Because Ogre mimics other fighters, so how can you make a character mimic a character who mimic characters? But it seems like she's going to be doing more so true Ogre stuff. I saw that one part where she had the giant snake arms, and that's definitely true Ogre. So maybe it's more true Ogre than Ogre, but still Ogre at its core, because those are the same characters. With such a wide variety of offensive options, she excels at keeping opponents focused on her tactics, skillfully switching between them, then launching a decisive assault when the moment is right. This basically sounds like a tricky way of saying mix-ups. She's a confusing character, jumping off the wall, spinning on the pole, jumping around, fighting like a lemur, then turns into the god, then turns into the African warrior. She's going to be doing a lot of stuff, and it's going to come at you really fast. I am interested to realize how the pattern recognition will turn out, because when you're looking at these characters go crazy like this, sometimes it can be tricky to keep up with. What will Marizu be? Will she be more like Eddie, confusion, Lydia, rushdown, Heihachi, quick reactions, or Anna, if she touch you, you're dead? Only time will tell. Let's keep reading. She also boasts exceptional physical abilities and agile movement, with the capabilities to perform actions using wall stages. This allows players to fully experience the unique excitement of 3D games, taking advantage of terrain and positioning in battle. Now, here they're talking about her jumping off the wall. Now, when I seen it in the trailer, I can't lie, it did look pretty cool. Like, the concept is amazing. Now, what I also saw in the trailer is her try to grab Azazina. Azazina broke the throw. Marizu went flying to the wall, landed on it, and then jumped back at Azazina with a 50-50. That is crazy, and it sounds a lot like what they did in season 2, how they try to punish people who break throws. So the developers definitely have to make this more balanced so people can enjoy it and not hate it, because I like the visual aspect of it, but you got to balance it properly. Come on, developers, don't let me down. The next question: in what kinds of movements is her identity as a character from Madagascar express? This says some of Marizu's actions pay homage to African martial arts. For example, her main stance features a sweeping motion across the ground, representing the ritual performed by a merengue match. They're basically turning these different African martial arts into like stances or signature moves. When I did see her summoning these big snake arms, the first thing that I was reminded of is Devil Jin and how he summons this huge chain. Now, obviously, Devil Jin just does that one chain for the most part, but Marizu, she is swinging that around like crazy, and that's probably going to give her a lot of range, a lot of ability to engage, make the attacking very easy, and then I wonder how defending against it will be. And the reason why I keep asking these questions is because we see that there's a lot of this in Tekken 8. Attacking or pressing offense is the easiest thing to do because there's so much range and plus frames, but then defending against it is so tricky because you have to react at the very specific time or you die. Here it says, from the footage, we can also see a connection to Ogre, extending multiple snakes from her hand, striking with a tail, and swinging upward with a horn. However, the power of the fighting god dwelling within her originates from a different deity than Ogre. What? This fighting god is characterized by a tail resembling that of the ring-tailed lemur and a single horn. It sounds like they're saying that this blue creature is not Ogre, and it's a different different god, but still Marizu has all of these connections to Ogre. I don't know, they need to do a story DLC, a good one, to explain this. In the next part of the interview, they go into details about the rage art and the heat system, and they basically explain how you can see these different godlike creatures and the way that she uses their abilities. Summoning huge wings, summoning a lemur tail, you see horns, you even see like what looks like a chain or some kind of rope. You can see the elements that they're describing here, and I'll show you guys the still images so you can get a clear look at what this character is going to be doing. It says, could you tell us about the design of her default one? The design was developed to actively convey the concept of being cheerful and full of vitality through her costume. Another key point is that the designs incorporate many elements of her background, particularly her connection with Ogre of Madagascar. So there is a Ogre in Madagascar, confirmed. To embody the keyword Fighting God Reborn, the large ring-shaped accessories on the arms and legs incorporate elements from Ogre of past titles. So there's a difference, Ogre of past titles and then Ogre of Madagascar. Now what's interesting is they have this concept art of her, but you can see that she has her hand on the staff. She is a weapon user, she is a staff user, but the staff goes in and out and it disappears, right? The developers also say that this blue outfit, her outfit 3, is to highlight her connections to the power of the fighting god. So you have one outfit that kind of ties to Ogre, and then the other outfit that kind of ties to the fighting god. So there's a duality of the character, the martial arts, the weapon, but then the spiritual nature. Both outfits capture both aspects. Now, as for the stage, in creating the stage, we researched Madagascar's natural environment, day life, and culture. Based on the findings, this stage designed with a grand and open atmosphere at its foundation. I love the openness. It feels like you're in nature. It's awesome. Elements unique to the Madagascar, such as brick houses, rice-filled landscapes, and ox carts, were also incorporated in the scenery. This stage features daytime and evening settings. They also say the background music for the stage inspires rhythm and inspiration from Salgi, while being arranged into an upbeat, exhilarating Tekken style battle track. And then the climax version, so this is the final round, there's a special touch that highlights her connection to Ogre. The phrase from Ogre theme in Tekken 3 comes prominently to the forefront. The design of this character looks fantastic, from the visuals to even the gameplay, the aesthetics. I just hope that it's all balanced really well, because if not, you're going to have what is a character with a lot of potential turn into something that people hate so much. I mean, you could talk about Anna, you could talk about so many things with the past, and I want Tekken to move forward into the future with so much potential.